Citrix and helping you to understand the opportunity and also to help you in driving those opportunities within your customers. My name is Tom Hickling. I'm a cloud solution architect working at Microsoft, helping some large organizations in their journey into the cloud, assisting them in architecting applications that are born in the cloud as well as migrations into Azure. And I'm joined with Alex. Alex, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Tom. So my name's Alex Hill. I'm the recruitment PAM for the UK, looking after cloud and mid-market partners, but also working alongside Tom and the Microsoft team on helping our partners understand the joint message and take it out to their customers.
So what is Windows 10 from the cloud? Well, it is, I suppose, as simple as it sounds. You can run Windows 10 from Azure on any number of our virtual machines that are available. But however, we still have the same problems around provisioning and the delivery of that. And so Citrix obviously is the prime preferred method of achieving that. You can run Windows 10 VMs and connect to them natively, but at scale that then becomes a problem. So obviously the Citrix receiver works on Windows 10, and Citrix have a product called AppDNA which helps in the migration of applications to Windows 10. Of course, that Windows 10 VM preferably running in Azure, and then it enables you to standardize on Windows 10 throughout your business using Citrix, either XenDesktop, as the method of orchestrating that back into your business.
Okay, thanks, Tom. So really the real area here is to help your customers get to Windows 10 if they're not on Windows 10 already, or utilize Windows 10 and also reduce their costs and help transform their businesses. Now that a lot means moving their Windows 10 to be a centrally held infrastructure, probably in Azure, and then deliver that back to their users from wherever they are in the world. Now, to enable that, underlying all this and underpinning it is how we've developed our solutions around XenDesktop to deliver the best experience at the lower cost with our new generation of HDX technologies. So outside of everything else we talked to you about today, what we're able to now do is take that Windows 10 image, put it in Azure, and let the user access it from wherever they want over lots of different types of networks, broadband, 3G, 4G, but still get a great user experience. And to do that, we've accelerated our printing, we've accelerated the session interactivity with that Windows 10 desktop, made file transfer much, much faster, and we'll come on to some also what else we've done around adapting and maximizing available bandwidth to make this user experience fantastic for the end user. Probably the best experience they're going to get outside of running it locally on their machine, if not the same as, if not sometimes better, depending upon that solution. So it gives a great way of centralizing that Windows 10 image, getting all the benefits of security and management by keeping the image alongside the data in the data center, but also not compromising on the user experience and still giving the user a great user experience, which means we can get customers migrated to Windows 10 faster, and we can roll out Windows 10 and Windows 10 updates ongoing in a much faster manner. Now again, as we go through today's session, this is just the introduction. Please feel free to reach out to your Microsoft or Citrix contacts to expand on this conversation, to get more information. There's lots of data and information that they can share with you after you've watched today's session. And we can help to build that message up within your businesses and within your sales teams, so we can help your customers take more advantage of Windows 10 if they've already got it, and the benefits they can get of transformation, remote working, but also really push those customers and remove barriers for those customers that aren't on Windows 10 to move to Windows 10 and also Azure as quickly as possible in 2018. So firstly, how do we start to help users and businesses get across to Windows 10? How do we help them to make that move? One of the things that may be holding them back may be application compatibility. How many of my line of business revenue generating applications are going to work on Windows 10? What's the risk and what's the cost going to be for me to migrate to Windows 10 as well? So that real question of am I compatible is a question we hear a lot. And is my app compatible on Windows 10? And if not, how can I deliver it in a Windows 10 environment? So answer the first question, am I compatible? What we have is AppDNA. Now you either get this through your partner program with Citrix, or indeed it's included in our XenApp Platinum and XenDesktop Platinum solutions, as it is also in our Citrix Cloud XenApp and XenDesktop services. And what this does is it takes a look at your applications. Now you can use third-party products like Lakeside to go and get a list of your applications, but then AppDNA will look at the DNA of the application and tell you how and where the application will run. So will it run on Windows 10 here? Obviously Windows 8 is a little bit legacy. Will it run on Windows servers? And also will that web app run in newer versions of Internet Explorer and obviously the web browser that's included Windows 10, which is Edge. So look at the apps, analyze their DNA, work out whether they work in those new solutions. So the way this will work is you give it a list of your applications. Now you can either just give it an Excel spreadsheet, or you can use things like Lakeside to gather that information. And once it has a list of the applications, you can import it into AppDNA, and then that will sit there and analyze those applications. Equally, by the way, you can just take the app package or the app installer and analyze that on a per app basis, but obviously in some of the larger customers you're probably going to want to have some kind of automated list that you can utilize as well. Once you've analyzed your applications, you can start to have a look at what we call the effort calculator and the remediation steps that you can take to get those apps that aren't compatible up front with Windows 10 to work with Windows 10. So it'll come out with a RAG report, a red, amber, green report. Red obviously meaning it's not going to work, amber meaning it probably will work with a bit of work, and green meaning it's good to go ahead. And actually, if that report comes out with green applications, if you want it to, it can create the AppV packages. So obviously AppV being the application packaging solution from Microsoft, and we can automatically create the AppV package if we're analyzing the application package at the first step as well here. If it's amber or green, it will also amber or red, sorry, it will also give you an effort calculator. It will tell you roughly how long you would expect to make and analyze the application to work on Windows 10. So it gives you that effort calculator as well. And we've got a great quote from Margaret Arakawa from a few years ago now. He's the General Manager for US Windows 10 and devices, and really being seen as a critical app to help successfully migrate those users across to Windows 10, but also get them running and get them running quickly on XenApp and XenDesktop. Now also we do have another solution that's going to help here with this application compatibility, or indeed this application deployment segment of Windows 10, because as we all know, getting Windows 10 to the user is probably the easier bit, getting the apps out to the user at the same time. But we have a solution called Citrix AppDNA. But Tom, also, could you want to just spend a minute here talking about AppV and how that works as well with this?
Yeah, so AppV obviously is Microsoft's app virtualization tool. Allows you to virtualize the app so it's fully isolated and essentially not installed on the VM. So it is a great way for delivering applications and separating it from the operating system and thus the VM. But it does obviously work in combination with Citrix app layering. So if you wanted the combination of both, then you can absolutely do so. If you wanted one, then absolutely you can do that as well.
Great, thanks Tom. But also we do include app layering in the XenApp and XenDesktop solutions, and you do have a choice between AppV, app layering, or both, as Tom already says. Now what app layering is where we're not actually installing the app in the Windows 10 image. We're keeping it in a separate layer, a separate disk, and then we're layering the app on to the Windows 10 desktop as the user logs in. So obviously that means we can stop things like image sprawl, because you're not tying the app into the OS. We can have one potentially image of Windows 10 that we can run from Azure, deliver back to the user through XenDesktop, and then we only have one Windows 10 image to manage. Obviously that's the Nirvana situation. So it integrates seamlessly in. It doesn't need any kind of packaging from the app. It's really just an installation of application. It has benefits of ease of use and solutions. But one thing it doesn't do, that Tom has probably said that AppV does do, is it doesn't do application isolation. So if you want two versions of the same application, Office 2010, Office 2016, running on the same Windows 10 image at the same time, you'd need to go and still use AppV. So we support both options, and it's really down to you working with the customer to work out what's the best option for them. Now, again, if you want more information on AppV, if you want more information on Citrix app layering, and if you want more information on how and where you should use either or, please contact your Microsoft or Citrix contact, and they will be able to spend more time going through that in a more detail. Obviously, we're not going to spend that time today because this is just the introduction to this solution as well. So hopefully you can see there that we're using AppDNA to remove some of the barriers on how we can get across from Windows 7 to Windows 10, for example, and how we can make sure our applications work, which is always one of the big challenges in any migration of platform as well. What about managing the OS updates? Well, we've just seen app layering, right? So we've just seen how app layering can remove the application from the underlying operating system. But equally, there's still going to be updates to Windows 10. So, Windows 10 is the final version, but there are still going to be updates going forwards. So if we stay on there and we kind of build this slide up, you'll see as we go forwards that there are still going to be releases as we go forward, major and minor releases for Windows 10 operating system that are still going to be actually taking time from us, making sure we can update and patch our Windows 10 images, because we want to be compliant, we want to be up to date with those Microsoft releases for Windows 10. So again, that's still going to take time. Well, what about if we could do all that centrally? If we had some kind of admin console looking at our images and then deploying the OS updates into Windows 10, or deploying Windows 10 with the update, but we only have to do it once and everyone gets access to it. Well, that's exactly what XenDesktop can do, using our provisioning services technologies, using our machine creation services technologies, where we can use one image of Windows 10 to deploy Windows 10 to all our users when they access Windows 10 through XenDesktop on Azure. So it means when we come to update our Windows 10 image, we go in, we update one image, and then we push that through the admin console out to every single Windows 10 user we have in our business. Meaning, rather than having to patch 500 images of Windows 10, now that can still be automated, but there's still a period of time to do that. We can do it once overnight, and then in the morning, everyone gets access to the newly patched version of Windows 10 because they're all sharing a single golden image of Windows 10. Okay, very simple proposition, very easy to push out, very easy to use this here. As you can see, there's different what we call VDisks in this example. And as you can see, once we update one VDisk, that gets updated, and then everyone gets access to that VDisk in the morning when they're logged back in with those new updates. In this case, a new screensaver to show an example of a change. And that's really as simple as it can be for us to go and push out that Windows 10 update to all our Windows 10 users. And you think about how much time, effort and risk that removes from a customer's deployment, that's a very, very compelling argument to take into our customers, as well as the ability to access Windows 10 from anywhere, any device, anytime as well. Equally, what about, well, we want to go to Windows 10, but we're looking at our hardware. There's different types of hardware, some older hardware, and we're not really sure if that's going to run Windows 10. So that's going to kind of stop us from making that move this year. Well, equally, as you probably know from Citrix, and as you probably hopefully know from previous training sessions you've attended with Citrix and Microsoft, we will run on any device. So we run on older Windows laptops, we run on older Windows desktops, we run on MacBooks, we'll run on Linux devices, we'll run on mobile devices. So actually we are device independent, meaning we can deliver Windows 10 to pretty much any device the user may have for work, either corporate or consumer. Equally, the next argument then comes on, what we get from customers is great, you can deliver Windows 10, but I'm now using Skype. Computer-based training is now a big part of my business, and I'm using Skype even as my private branch exchange to go make outbound telephone calls. So you can't obviously do that through a XenDesktop Azure-based Windows 10 desktop. Well, actually we can. Going back to what I said earlier, we have improved the protocol to support video, to support voice, and you may have seen our earlier session we've put out there for you to consume around Skype for Business on Citrix, and we can also fully support Skype. In fact, we're the only vendor that works directly with Microsoft on optimizing Skype for virtual environments, and if you haven't watched our joint session, please have a look at that to understand that theory more in more detail. So we can deliver Skype content, we can also deliver video content through a Windows 10 desktop delivered on demand to the user's device that's sat in Azure. And that then leads on to being able to support all of the advanced features of Windows 10. So the task view, when you're switching between applications, you're seeing what the application is currently doing on Windows 10. Really useful function. When you just want to flick back to an app and see if it's still doing what you asked it to do. Again, we can support that in XenDesktop based Windows 10 from Azure. So you can see there's an example there with the 4 applications open. They're all doing something, they're all graphically moving and doing things, and we can represent that within the text view or the multiple desktop workspaces, as you can see there as well. And there you go, we'll just build those up on there as well. Now we do all this through ICA. This is a real key and the real unique benefit we have of taking Windows 10, delivering it in Azure and delivering it back to the user. Because in that Windows ICA connection that we're using to connect, we've got all these technologies to be able to do all the things that the user expects to do in a Windows 10, but now is remote to them. So accessing local drives if allowed, delivering multimedia, video, voice, video conferencing, voice calls. To be able to pick up the local USB device, for example, a headset or a printer, to be able to utilize that within the remote Windows 10 desktop. And as you can see, on and on. Plus some technologies at the top there around Framework as was, now adaptive orchestration, to be able to go and deliver this great high definition user experience over different types of networks, so broadband, 3G, 4G, whatever network the user is coming from, to give that user that high-end user experience that they expect, even though now Windows 10 is sat in Azure, potentially in a completely different country. So again, hope that gives you a great introduction to that kind of joint message. Again, please reach out to your Citrix or Microsoft content for more information. Tom, is it any words you'd like to add to here about why XenDesktop and Microsoft is Azure is such a great fit, and then alongside Windows 10 an even better fit?
Well, yeah, absolutely. So admittedly, you can run Windows 10 in Azure without any Citrix products if you wanted to. So you can deploy hundreds of Windows 10 VMs and connect to them via RDP, but there is still, there is still no orchestration tool. So for the same reason that organizations deploy XenDesktop on premises to provide that orchestration, exactly the same requirement exists in Azure. So admittedly, there are other orchestration tools available out there, but our preferred method of delivery, it will be Citrix XenDesktop, and that goes back over the relationship that both Microsoft and Citrix have had for the last 25 or so years, and of course the technology dependency that exists between the two products. So what we commonly see by a long way is more organizations deploying XenDesktop than any other kind of orchestration tool that delivers large-scale Windows 10 deployments in Azure. So our sort of typical recommendation when a customer is asking what should we be using to manage Windows 10 in Azure, the typical answer is always to deploy Citrix XenDesktop. So yeah, really the opportunity there is quite significant. Lots of organizations are looking at Windows 10 in the cloud, meaning they need some kind of orchestration tool. And typically we see a lot of enterprises are already Citrix customers, so they've deployed some flavor of either XenApp or XenDesktop or both, and having that consistency applied in Azure as their new platform of choice for Windows 10 just brings that consistency and familiarity.
Great, thanks, Tom. I think also, like we said earlier, it's about that consistency, that familiarity, and just the expectation of the desktop just works, isn't it? As well.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, even though it's now sat in Azure, hundreds of miles away from them over a home broadband network. So we hope that's been useful for you. We really hope that you've understood the value proposition here and you want to explore it more. Obviously, to do that, please, as we always say, contact your Microsoft or Citrix content. Tom, any closing words from you?
Well, just the same message, really, that there's whole teams of people at Microsoft willing to assist. If you have any questions, concerns, or need any other kind of assistance, then just reach out and there will be people willing and able to assist you.
Perfect. Thanks, Tom. And thank you all for watching today, and hopefully you found this session valuable, and we hope to meet you all soon. Thank you very much.